what have we got here? So this is a video. It's almost like a rehearsal for me, actually, to go over this presentation I prepared for the start of the year. And it's kind of just to introduce like the audit that we did on the technology curriculum that we have. The school's an IPC school and it uses IPC 2020. So it's kind of like that, but also introduces like what is digital learning and kind of gets people to think about that. Then there's a few activities in here. And we've got a little bit of AI, of course, and some other bits and pieces. So maybe it's of use to you if you're introducing technology to your faculty this year, or maybe to give you some ideas, something like that. So we start off with just a kind of thinking prompt, like what digital technology have you used so far today, and what did you use that for? Just to kind of get faculty to think about how connected they are or are not, and then maybe to talk about that with people wherever they're sitting. So then we're going to move on to this name of the school there for this school year. And so I found this video on Twitter, and I call it 3x3x3, and I'll kind of explain where that comes from. So in this video, there was three men or three guys, whatever, and the first one was drawing on the back of another, and they were drawing a car. But basically, the first guy would draw on the back of the second guy, and once the first guy had drawn one part of this car, the second guy would then draw what he felt on his back onto the back of someone else. So the person three. And then that person three would wait till person two drew whatever it is, what they were drawing on their back, and then they would draw it on another piece of paper, which was on a wall. And it's kind of like really cool to see what crazy stuff they came up with. The car ended up looking like actually pretty much a car, to be honest, with a few extra additions. So I'm going to do that, but with a twist. Here's kind of the instructions I've got here. My twist is to link to technology, not to car. So my idea is to give those the faculty some of these logos. I haven't decided yet which, but put people into groups of three. So three people, give them three logos. Maybe with letters, maybe without. And then the idea is they'll have 1 minute to draw each one. That's where the three comes from, 3x3, 3 minutes to do all three. It looked really fun on Twitter. Whether or not that transpires to this presentation I'll do, who knows. But we'll give it a go. And here's some of the logos I thought I would do. Given that Twitter's now X, I think that might be quite an easy one. So I might throw that in there as well. All right, so that's kind of like the intro to the session, and then we kind of move off that, and then we go to adoption of new technology. Because I collaborated with a bunch of awesome educators to like review and audit what we're doing with ed technology, and some of that audit will include new things. So it's like, well, how quick can we adopt new technology? And this is kind of like two stories from the press about this, and this first one here is from February 2023. I think this is from The Guardian, and ChatGPT reaches 100 million users 2 months after launch. So at the time, this was unprecedented. I'm sure if you're watching this, maybe you remember that, and it was like, whoa, I gotta get this. And the take-up was quite quick, and they were saying nothing's ever been like this before. And then fast forward to July 2023, and then Meta's Threads app got 150 million downloads in under 2 weeks. So yeah, kind of like smashed the previous record set by ChatGPT. The point of that is to show like we don't know how quick the next technology is or is not adopted by the majority. I wouldn't say early adopters, but maybe even the main part of the market. Anyway, that was a reference to Moore's crossing the chasm. Then I got this graphic. Sorry, I haven't got the reference for it, but it kind of shows you some of the how long it took some of these apps to reach so many users. And you can see Threads is like 5 days or 100 million. 2 months for ChatGPT, as we just know there. And you got TikTok, Telegram, and so on. So I thought that's pretty cool to kind of get people into where I'm coming from and where technology is and how fast it's adapting. So let's move on from that to like this question, like what do you think the next viral technology will be? And yeah, of course, some people might have ideas, they may not. We don't know. And the point really is just to be ready to be risk takers and to try out new things and not be afraid to try it out. So I've got this one. It's actually a Kagan learning structure called time per share. The question is, if technology progression was a car, which one would you rather be in? And so I kind of thought this would be funny, because in the past, like, not recently, but I've certainly been like slow to take up some things. Anyway, so this is a video I found. I thought it was quite funny to show. This car on the left would be like the adoption people, like the early adopters, I suppose, when it comes to adopting new technology. And you'll see in the car on the right is the laggard. But yeah, let's see how this video unfolds here. Kind of like that sound there. So we'll fast forward a little bit here. So it's kind of just to get people to think about, you don't want to be throwing it into reverse when new technology comes along. And maybe this may open up the conversation about change, because oftentimes I think personally that people are just afraid of change, not necessarily the new technology. And that fear, it's a bit of a strong word to use, but that fear might come from not understanding, or they're comfortable where they are and maybe they don't see the need. So it's definitely not meant to make people feel bad. It's more to open up the conversation to adopting new technologies. Then I'm going to move on to this. So this is actually very specific to the IPC curriculum now. And it's got like rather than me just telling, oh yeah, here's the new topics for this year, I've decided to get like a mix and match. So I'll cut these up, and basically the titles are in bold. So like the titles of these, like the topics with the definitions below. And then some of them are questions, but some of these are also topic titles from the IPC in computing. IPC curriculum, so that's computer systems, control programming, digital literacy, IT and society, and digital learning. I felt that, I don't know if anyone's read IPC 2020, but digital learning and digital literacy are pretty much the same thing. I don't understand really why they've got them separated, but whatever, I've put them both in there. So that's kind of just like a hands-on activity for faculty to try out there to match them up. And I kind of got some like other kind of thinking prompt questions, like what is technology? So because sometimes I think people think, and rightfully or wrongfully, it's not for me to say, but it's all digital. It's not. It's just like the use of a machine or tool to do work. And these are two definitions I got off, one from Britannica, the other was dictionary.com. The second one being method, systems, and devices, which are the result of scientific knowledge being used for practical purposes. And then I show, like, yeah, a pencil is technology, right? Writing. Clothes hangers are technology. A wheel, not necessarily this arty wheel, but a wheel is technology. And they got some software examples: Canva, Bard, Google Apps, but biased towards Google, I suppose. And then Apple iPad with hardware technologies, their Vision Pro, which looks awesome, and then the a watch. Is that the Apple Watch or not? But there you go. It's just to kind of show, yeah, like technology can be hardware, software, but it can also be things that we take for granted and may not even realize that it is technology. Then we move on to another question, like what is digital learning? Because that's what we call it at our school rather than technology. It's digital learning, but you can now see that because IPC also has a strand or topic called digital learning, there may be a little bit of confusion. But essentially it's just like digital learning is the use of digital technology to facilitate learning. So if we go back to that previous slide, it's like the hardware and the software. Again, these are just the 5 themes identified. I think I've called them 3 different things now: themes, topics, areas. Anyway, and then I'll unpack these, like control and programming. And I took these definitions just from my PC, but yeah, it's how to use control structures and programming techniques to solve problems. And then there's, of course, ChatGPT, got Scratch in there, and robotics, and there are code-based block programming, because it is an elementary school, so I don't know if we'll get into text-based programming. So that's why they're there. Digital literacy is being able to navigate the digital world as well as creating content. So you got common sense in there. My all-time favorite: contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. Even though there's a carp fish, it is spelled crap. To whatever, you can mix the repetition and A, mix the order there. Got ethics. I've put this in here. It's something I'm thinking about at the minute. Been involved in a few discussions on threads about the ethics of AI. And then we've got the Creative Commons, licensing scheme to kind of just talked about that a little bit. I don't know it in depth enough to go to show anything other than a screenshot, to be honest. And we move on to IT and society. It's like protecting your online identity. I've got this guy like totally on the left here, totally wrapped up, being super protective, overprotective online. And we've got this kid in a hard hat. And it's kind of the point of those two pictures, to juxtaposition them against each other, is really to show that, yeah, like you can take precautions, but you don't need to be like overly protective, in my opinion. So that's the point of those two. Digital learning one, I'm not sure it should have been included by the IPC, but there it is. They say it's about simulation web apps. So one of my all-time favorites is FET out of the University of Colorado. And it's got really cool science simulations on there, all for free. Those guys are doing an awesome job being able to deliver science experiments via computer. Is pretty impressive. And then we've got computer systems. Again, bit of security in here with the padlocks, like that's the connotation of that. And it's also IPC talk about you should cover hardware and computer systems, something that is totally overlooked these days. And yeah, this is it's like a motherboard, not sure what computers it's from, but it's a bit older school way of looking at hardware, I suppose. But I still think that it's got all the components there. It's definitely something in my opinion, I think is worth unpacking. And then moving on from the IPC and what they say, I go to talk about a couple of frameworks that I use. Because I contract for ISDE, I think they're awesome. They've got like a bunch of, they've got 7 base standards that you can use as a framework. And I think it's really, really cool. It can be really empowering for educators to use those. And they've got a course in that, and they've got little kind of micro courses as well you can do to become a certified educator. And then I made this, I was reading about Shine's iceberg. It's about culture. And then someone posted something on threads about SAMR, and I was like, yeah, I think SAMR's a bit like an iceberg sometimes. If you're not familiar, there's like kind of 4 levels. It's substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. And it's basically, you can apply this when you when you're approaching work using technology. But you can find out more about that, a quick Google search on SAMR. Anyways, it's a framework. So what do we got next? We've got, how do you feel when you need to use technology in the classroom? This is kind of something we do every day with our kids in the morning meetings. It's kind of, hey guys, where are you at on your emotion meter? So, I feel it's kind of funny. I love Baby Yoda, by the way. But also funny lighthearted to see how people feel about using technology in the classroom. Because I might put myself as a number 2, use the force. You can make it happen, but some people might be, oh no, like number 3, not again, another new technology. So just a little lighthearted take on how people feel about that. And this is kind of like, just to sum up my presentation, is like, where can you find information sources? So I've got a bi-monthly newsletter, a website as well, which is not in there. I'm running a Seesaw PL session for educators. Kathy Schrock has an amazing website. I host PubPD. I think it's every like 6 or 8 weeks or whatever. I also do like a Tech Bite session once a week. It's kind of like lunch and learn. People come, bring their lunch, and there's no set agenda. Like, I'll talk about some stuff that's like upcoming in tech, or people can talk about whatever they want. And then Techness is a local tech conference that we did years ago. Then I left for China, and then as did the co-founders of that, and it kind of stopped. But happy to say that it seems to be coming back. So maybe 23, 24 academic year, maybe 24, 25, not sure. And of course, plenty of information out there on Threads and Twitter, or is that now X? Then we're going to finish up with kind of like, because this is for faculty, right, and admin. And my idea for showing them the learning pit is like, where do you put yourself in terms of confidence and ability to use digital technologies. And so my idea is I'll have this on like the school Jamboard, and then they can see where other people are. So the idea is if they need help with some technology, then they know who to go to. So I do love the learning pit. I have that in my classroom as well. Big win because it's such an easy one as well to kind of communicate where you are when you're learning for something. And that's it. That's going to be my presentation to new and existing faculty and admin as we start the year with digital learning. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this and maybe you got some takeaways or maybe not. Either way, have a great school year.